My dad was right. You'll never amount to anything. She spat while packing to move in with her manager, so I stopped trying to prove her wrong. She's crying at my door after he scammed her life, savings, and disappeared. Hey viewers, before we move on to the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you want to see more stories like this. Thanks. I never thought I'd be writing this, but here we are. This happened about 2 years ago, and I'm finally ready to tell the whole story. Names changed for obvious reasons. I'm Jake, 28 now, was 26 when this went down. I worked maintenance at a manufacturing plant, not glamorous, but steady work with decent benefits. I lived in a one-bedroom apartment across town, drove a 2015 Honda Civic that I bought used but took care of. Nothing fancy, but I was comfortable and saving money every month. Sarah was 24, worked as an assistant manager at one of those mid-tier clothing stores in the mall. We'd been together 3 years. Met her at a friend's barbecue, and she seemed different from other girls I dated. Funny, smart, had her own thing going. For the first 2 years, everything was good. Really good. The problem started when I met her family. Her dad was some kind of financial advisor, drove a BMW, lived in one of those subdivision houses with the circular driveways. Her mom taught at a private school. The first time Sarah brought me to Sunday dinner, I could feel them sizing me up. "So Jake, what are your career plans?" her dad asked, cutting his steak like he was performing surgery. "I'm pretty happy where I am, sir. Good company, union job, steady hours." He nodded, but I caught that look. The one that said this is temporary, right? Her mom was more subtle. "Sarah mentioned you don't have a degree?" "No ma'am. Went straight to work after high school. Been at the plant for 8 years now." More nodding, more looks. After that dinner, Sarah started bringing up my potential more often. Maybe I could take night classes. Maybe I could look into management training. Maybe I could want more than I had. "I'm not unhappy," I tell her. "Why fix something that's not broken?" "It's not about being unhappy, Jake. It's about growth." But she said it in a way that made growth sound like something I was allergic to. The real change started about 6 months before everything fell apart. Sarah got a new regional manager at work. David something. 38, divorced, drove a Tesla, always talking about investment opportunities and building wealth. Sarah would come home and repeat his business advice like he was Warren Buffett. "David says most people stay poor because they think small," she'd say, stirring pasta while staring at her phone. "Okay. He's looking at some real estate deals. Says the returns could be incredible." "That's nice. Don't you want to know more?" "Not really." She'd get frustrated with me for not being more interested in David's financial wisdom. Started working later. Always on her phone. New clothes showed up that looked expensive. "Where'd you get that?" I asked about a dress that looked like it cost more than my car payment. "David got it for me." "Well, the company did. For representing them at some conference." "What conference?" "A business development thing. You wouldn't find it interesting." The distance grew. She'd roll her eyes when I'd suggest we grab pizza and watch a movie. Started asking why we never went anywhere nice. When I mentioned maybe taking a weekend trip to this lake I'd been to as a kid, she looked at me like I'd suggested we vacation in a dumpster. "The lake? Jake, when are you going to want to do something?" "I don't know, nicer?" "What do you mean nicer?" David was telling me about this resort in Colorado. Real places, you know. Real places. Places where successful people go. That should have been my first real warning. But I was still thinking this was just a phase, that she was going through something and would come back around. I was wrong. The end came on a Thursday. I got home from work around 5:30, and Sarah was in the bedroom with 2 expensive-looking suitcases I'd never seen before, packing clothes I also didn't recognize. "Where did you get those?" "David bought them. We're going to Miami for a business conference." "Business conference?" "Yes, Jake. Business. Something you wouldn't understand." There was something in her voice I'd never heard before. Not just irritation. Contempt. "Sarah, what's going on?" She stopped packing and looked at me. Really looked at me. Like she was seeing me for the first time and didn't like what she found. "What's going on is I'm tired of living like this. Tired of making excuses." "Excuses for what?" "For you. For us. My dad was right when he said you'd never amount to anything. Look around, Jake. This is it. This is your peak. And I can't do it anymore." The words hit like cold water. Not because they were surprising, but because of how easily they came out. Like she'd been thinking them for months. "Sarah, no, stop. David sees potential in me. Real potential. He's offering me opportunities you could never even dream of. So you're leaving me for your boss." "I'm leaving you for a future." She went back to packing. I stood there watching her fold clothes that probably cost more than I made in a week. The weird thing was, I wasn't angry. I wasn't hurt exactly. I was just empty. like something had been unplugged. Jake, say something. What do you want me to say? I don't know. Fight for me. Tell me I'm making a mistake. If you think I'm someone who will never amount to anything, then you should go. That's it. I helped her carry the suitcases to her car. David was waiting in his Tesla at the end of the parking lot. Didn't even have the courtesy to get out. Take care of yourself, Sarah. Jake, I hope you find what you're looking for. She got in her car and drove away. I went back upstairs, ordered Chinese food, and watched TV until I fell asleep on the couch. Here's what I didn't do. I didn't call her. I didn't text her. I didn't check her social media. I didn't try to win her back or prove her wrong. I didn't tell my friends or family what she'd said to me. I just moved on. But I did start making changes. Not to show her anything, but because her words made me realize I'd been coasting. I liked my job, but I'd never pushed myself to learn more. I was comfortable, but comfort can be its own trap. I enrolled in night classes at the community college, business management and basic accounting. Started reading books about small business ownership. Began doing handyman work on weekends for extra money. Fixing leaky faucets, painting rooms, basic electrical work. Turns out I was pretty good at it. Word spread. Soon I had more weekend work than I could handle. I was learning about profit margins, customer service, scheduling, materials costs. Things I'd never thought about before. After about 6 months, I was making almost as much from weekend jobs as from my regular work. So I made a decision that would have terrified the old me. I quit the plant and went full-time with my handyman business. It was scary as hell, but it was also exciting in a way I'd never experienced. I got my contractor's license, hired 2 part-time guys, started taking on bigger jobs, bathroom renovations, deck building, small additions. Within a year, I had a truck with my business name on it and more work than I could keep up with. Moved to a better apartment. Not to impress anyone, just because I could afford it and wanted more space for my tools and paperwork. Started dating again, casually at first. Met Lisa, a nurse at the local hospital. She thought it was cool that I ran my own business. Never once asked me about my potential or suggested I should want more than what I had. Sarah's social media, which I didn't look at, but friends would sometimes mention, showed her living the high life for a while. Pictures from Miami, expensive restaurants, a new apartment that looked like something out of a magazine. David was never in the photos, but the lifestyle upgrade was obvious. Then, about 18 months after she left, things got weird. Lisa and I were having dinner at my place when my phone rang. Number I didn't recognize, but something made me answer. Jake? It's me. I knew the voice immediately. Sarah. I know. I need help. What kind of help? David, everything fell apart. The FBI? I lost everything. I'm sorry to hear that. Jake, I made a mistake. A huge mistake. Okay. That's it. Okay. What do you want me to say, Sarah? That you'll help me. That we can, that maybe. Lisa was watching from the kitchen, not hiding that she was listening. I told her about Sarah, about how things ended. Sarah, you told me I'd never amount to anything. You were very clear about that. I was wrong. I was so wrong. You're good and stable, and I threw it away for nothing. You weren't wrong about me then. You just made a choice. But I love you. I've always loved you. No, you didn't. And that's okay. Silence on the other end. Then, can I see you? Just to talk. I don't think that's a good idea. Please, Jake. I'm staying at the Motel 6 on Route 9. I don't have anywhere else to go. What happened to your family? They won't talk to me. The scandal, everyone knows. I can't even go back to my old store. They won't hire me anywhere. I almost felt bad for her. Almost. I'm sorry you're going through that. Will you at least think about it? Take care, Sarah. I hung up. Lisa came over and sat next to me. Ex-girlfriend. Yeah. Long story. I gathered. You okay? Yeah, I'm okay. And I was. That's the thing that surprised me most. I felt nothing. Not anger, not satisfaction, not even pity. Just nothing. She called 2 more times over the next week. I let them go to voicemail. The messages got more desperate each time. How sorry she was. How she'd learned her lesson. How she knew now what really mattered. Then she showed up. Lisa and I were making breakfast on a Saturday morning when there was a knock at the door. I looked through the peephole, and there she was. Sarah. But not the Sarah who'd packed expensive suitcases and left for Miami. This Sarah looked tired, worn down. Clothes that didn't fit right. Hair that needed washing. I opened the door, but didn't invite her in. Hi, Jake. Sarah. She was looking past me into the apartment, taking in the nice furniture, the big TV, the kitchen island where Lisa was pretending not to listen while scrambling eggs. You're doing well. I'm doing fine. Is that your? Sarah, this is Lisa. Lisa, this is Sarah, my ex. Lisa came over, dish towel in her hands, and smiled politely. Nice to meet you. Sarah's face changed when she saw Lisa. Really saw her. Lisa's pretty, but more than that, she's confident. Comfortable in her own skin. The kind of person who doesn't need to put others down to feel better about herself. Jake, can we talk? Alone. There's nothing to talk about. But we had 3 years together. That has to mean something. It meant something then. It doesn't mean something now. How can you be so cold? I'm not cold. I'm just not the same person you left. She started crying then. Not the pretty kind of crying you see in movies. The ugly, desperate kind. I lost everything, Jake. Everything. David took all my money, told me it was invested, then just disappeared when the FBI started investigating. I lost my job, my apartment, my car. I'm working at a gas station now and living in a motel room. I'm sorry that happened to you. Are you? Are you really? I thought about it. Yeah, I am. I wouldn't wish that on anyone. Then help me. Please. You're the only good person I know. Lisa had gone back to the kitchen, but I could feel her listening, waiting to see what I'd say. Sarah, I can't help you. Why not? We were good together once. We were comfortable together once. That's different. I love you. No, you don't. You love the idea of me helping you out of the mess you're in. That's not the same thing. That's not true. When you left, you told me I'd never amount to anything. Do you remember that? She nodded, still crying. You meant it when you said it. You looked at me and saw someone who wasn't worth your time. Someone who would never be enough. And you know what? You were probably right. No, I wasn't. Look at this place. Look at what you've built. I built this after you left. Because you left. The person you were with for 3 years, the person you said would never amount to anything, that person wouldn't have taken these risks. Wouldn't have pushed himself. Would have stayed exactly where he was. So you're saying I helped you? I'm saying you were honest about who I was then. And I'm being honest about who you are now. What does that mean? It means you didn't leave me because you wanted something better. You left because you wanted something easier. And when that didn't work out, you came back looking for easy again. She stopped crying and looked at me with something I'd never seen before. Hate, maybe. Or just recognition that her last option had closed. You've changed. Yeah, I have. You're cruel now. No, I'm just not afraid of you anymore. She left without saying goodbye to Lisa. I watched from the window as she got into a beat-up Honda with a cracked windshield and drove away. Lisa came up behind me and put her arms around my waist. You okay? Yeah, I really am. Good. Eggs are getting cold. That was 6 months ago. Sarah hasn't contacted me since. I heard through mutual friends that she moved back in with her parents eventually. Her dad, who was so sure I'd never amount to anything, had to help his daughter rebuild her life from nothing. My business is doing great. I'm looking at buying the building where I rent my workshop. Lisa and I are talking about moving in together. Life is good. Not perfect, but good. Sometimes I think about what Sarah said that day she left. About me never amounting to anything. She was right, in a way. The person she was with, comfortable, unambitious, scared of taking risks, probably wouldn't have amounted to much. But that person died when she walked out the door. What got built in his place was someone who didn't need anyone else's approval to know his own worth. Someone who could hear, "You'll never amount to anything," and think, "We'll see about that," instead of, "You're probably right." The funny thing is, I don't hate Sarah. I don't even dislike her. I just don't think about her anymore. She's like a restaurant I used to go to that closed down, part of my past, but not something I miss or would go back to even if I could. Her leaving was the best thing that ever happened to me. I just wish it hadn't taken her losing everything to realize it. But that's not my problem anymore. Edit. A lot of people are asking what happened to David. From what I heard, he was running investment scams through multiple companies. Took money from employees and clients. Claimed he was investing it. Actually, just used it to fund his lifestyle. When it caught up with him, he emptied what was left of the accounts and disappeared. FBI thinks he's in South America somewhere. Sarah lost about $30,000. Her entire savings plus money she'd borrowed thinking it was going into guaranteed returns. She wasn't the only victim, but she was one of the ones who lost the most because she trusted him completely. Edit 2. Yes, I know some of you think I should have helped her out financially. I get why you'd think that. But here's the thing. Helping someone who called you worthless isn't kindness, it's enabling. She didn't come back because she realized she loved me. She came back because she needed me. There's a difference, and learning that difference was part of growing up. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. What do you think about this story? Share it in the comments.